Guess this car by the zoomed-in picture.
That is... Oh, man. I know what it is.
What is it?
The Ferrari Pure Blue.
The Pure Sangue?
Close.
It's the other end of the spectrum, man.
Oh, it's the Prius.
Yeah. It's like McLaren. You and I were like,
Mason and I looked at each other like, oh, really?
Welcome, everyone, to the Bose Bros podcast. I'm Mason.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Logan.
And we're going to jump right into our speed rounds.
I got a lot.
Yeah.
Had an extra day to prepare.
So first up on the speed rounds, we're going to be doing 20 questions. So 20 questions. We'll start with you, Jordan.
Okay.
I'm thinking of a car. You have 20 questions, yes or no questions, to figure out what it is.
Is it American?
Yes.
Is it an El Camino?
Okay. Is it made by the big three?
No.
Is it electric?
No.
Was it built in the last 20 years?
No.
Is the company still selling vehicles? Because I'm trying to think of a vehicle manufacturer that's not electric, that's not part of the big three, that is American. So they've got to be defunct, like DeSoto or something else.
Diamond Star Motors.
I think
right?
technically they are. But if they are, it's very recently. They weren't for a long time. I gave you a lot of information right there.
Okay, only one thing comes to mind.
What?
Is it a DeLorean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but you gave him half the answer.
I mean, I didn't want to say no. I didn't really know.
Like, it is American. They're also one of the only two vehicles to be all stainless steel. So.
All right, Logan, this one's for you. You have 20 questions, yes or no questions, to figure out what car I'm thinking of.
Okay.
If I don't look, can I get a final question if he misses it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Is it an American vehicle?
No.
Is it a Japanese vehicle?
Yes.
Is it made by one of the big three Japanese auto manufacturers?
Tell me what the big three are in your mind.
Nissan, Honda, Toyota.
Yes.
That's a good question.
Is it part of the 276 horsepower gentleman's agreement?
That's another good question.
I don't think so.
Because that ended in like the mid-2000s, right?
It ended, I think, it ended probably in the 90s, the late 90s.
That's 4 questions.
Is it a Toyota?
No.
Is it a Nissan?
Yes.
So, a Nissan post 276 horsepower gentleman's agreement.
Or pre.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a car in that bracket because he would have just been like, no, if it was like a Nissan Titan or something.
Yeah.
Unless he's gaming me way harder than he does you.
I don't know what I'm loosely familiar with the gentleman's agreement. I know it was like for their sports cars and stuff.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't think too closely at that.
All right. So it's a Nissan. Is it a 2-door?
No.
Is it a 4-door?
Yes.
Is it a sedan?
No.
Is it a truck?
No.
Is it a...
Wait, you said it is 4-door.
It is 4-door.
4-door. It's not a sedan. It's not a truck.
And it's not a 5-door?
I guess it depends what you count as a 5-door.
5-door is anything that lets the hatch opens into the cabin and not into a trunk.
By that definition, then it would be a 5-door.
Okay.
Okay, it's a 5-door. 5-door. Is it a wagon?
No.
And it's not a sedan, huh?
You already asked that. It's not a sedan.
I guess is it a minivan?
No.
Yeah. Is it an SUV?
It is an SUV.
Is it a Nissan Patrol?
Does it go by a different name?
No. Maybe a later generation changed the name.
To what?
No, Pathfinder. I think that the later one's the Pathfinder.
No.
So... Oh man, this is kind of tough. Nissan Pathfinder Patrol. Is it an American market car?
It is. It was definitely sold here. I don't know if it was sold elsewhere probably was.
Is it an Xterra?
I was just going to guess that.
It is a Nissan Xterra.
Oh boy, that's back when they made decent cars. People have a lot of love for the Xterras.
Terra means Earth. Who would want to drive around in an X-Earth?
I thought about that scene when I was making this slide.
What scene? Yeah.
The Office.
From The Office, where Dwight flips Andy's Xterra.
Like Jordan said, back when they made cars you'd want to buy.
Yeah. Well, that one was like the Land Cruiser competitor. So there was like the Mitsubishi Montero, the Nissan Patrol, and the Toyota Land Cruiser.
All right, Jordan, this one's for you. 20 questions. Go ahead.
Is it an American market vehicle?
Yes.
Is it an American-made vehicle?
Yes.
Is it from the big three?
Yes.
Is it from GM?
Yes.
Is it from Chevrolet?
No.
Is it from Cadillac?
Yes.
Has it been on the sale in the last 5 years?
Yes.
Is it a CT5 Blackwing?
Yes. Do I talk about that car too much?
Oh, I'm proud of that one.
That was good. 7 questions.
All right.
Nice.
Okay,
that was fast.
That was...
I really think we should lower this game to like 12 questions.
No, what we should do is make it like model specific or like trim specific.
I mean, it's not like I would have done CT5.
4-cylinder, yeah.
Yeah, I only would have been talking about the Blackwing.
Right. Which is why I said Blackwing.
I thought I'd trip you up on the transmission.
Four-door manual. No, that would give it away.
That's true. Yeah.
That would give it away.
All right, Logan, this one's for you.
Okay.
I will give you a bit of a hint. This one might be a little bit more difficult for you.
What you're saying is it is not an obscure Japanese.
I might be saying that.
Is it American?
It is American.
Okay. Is it from Chrysler Group?
No.
GM?
No.
Ford?
Yes.
Is it a Ford vehicle?
Yes.
Is it a sedan?
No.
Is it a sports car?
No.
Is it an SUV?
No.
Oh my God. Is it a truck?
Yes.
Is it a performance truck?
No.
Okay.
Well, that takes the tuna sandwich scene out of the equation. How many questions is that?
That's 10.
He's only been back in the U.S. market for like a year.
That's why I said it might be a little harder for him.
Oh, it recently returned to the U.S. market?
Returned is an interesting word. The name has returned.
Oh, is it a Ford Maverick?
Yep.
12 questions. When you like almost laughed at the idea of it being a performance truck, because I was leaning toward Raptor R. Yeah. And you like chuckled at the idea of it being a performance truck, so I was like, oh, it's the other end of the spectrum. It's a Maverick.
I was thinking the OG Ford Lightning.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
That would be a good one. Not now because you said it, but...
We talk about a lot of cars, so...
Yeah.
If I did get a truck, I would seriously consider that.
You know what's more capable, though? It's uglier.
A Santa Cruz.
The Santa Cruz is more capable than the Maverick, and it's not any bigger.
I don't think the Santa Cruz is uglier. I think the Santa Cruz looks better.
Huh. The Ford Maverick is more traditional truck. The Santa Cruz is a Hyundai Tucson with a bed.
Yeah, the Ford Maverick is definitely like... They're on two different sides of the picket line. Like,
No, I know what he's saying.
Please.
You and I, until recently, make pretty pragmatic car buying choices.
Until our last 2 purchases.
Until, like, removing the last year from the equation, we're pretty pragmatic in, like, the cars we choose and stuff. If I genuinely had a need for a truck, I know the Maverick would do 95% of the things that I needed a truck to do. That's not the case for everyone. Some people do need heavy-duty vehicles, and they have a ranch, and they got whatever.
why not be even more pragmatic? Why spend $20K on a Maverick when you could spend $8K and get a K dump truck? You don't even have to get a K dump truck. You can get a regular K truck, and it's the same size bed, if not larger, and it opens from the sides. So when you offload and load things, you can take down the side of the bed.
Yeah, Japan has like a complete... They're playing in a different league when it comes to like practical...
Utility.
Yeah.
And it's more fuel efficient.
bringing vehicles over from Japan that are designed for utility, it's like having an MLB player on a T-ball in a T-ball game. They're just coming from a different league.
Especially for the price.
Yeah. Exactly. And that MLB player is Ohtani Shohei.
Shohei Ohtani, he's my favorite Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that his interpreter is Miyuki's cousin.
Oh, is he really the one that's in prison?
No, I'm making it up. No, it's fake.
I love how we're like, yeah, that makes sense. They're both from Japan. Like,
yeah, like it doesn't narrow it down at all.
I only know one Japanese person. Everyone must be your cousin.
All right, this one's for you, Joe. 20 questions.
Is it an American market vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Is it made by the big three?
No.
Is it made by an electric car company?
Yes.
Okay. Is it from Rivian?
No.
Is it from Lucid?
Yes.
Is the Lucid Air Sapphire?
Yes. Jeez.
Is it the Sapphire trim too?
I don't know if that is.
I think that's the Dream Edition. The Sapphire is wider.
Did Jordan see the slide beforehand?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You know what's funny is they make that car about 10 miles from here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've seen a lot of them. Mm-hmm. They're so cool. If I was going to get any electric car, money no object, Sapphire.
You want to get a Fisker Ocean?
Nope.
Not now?
Not now.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Hey, they're cheap. Go get a CCS car.
All right. This is my last 20 questions. This one's for you, Logan.
Okay.
20 yes or no questions to guess what car I'm thinking of.
Is it American?
No.
Is it European?
No.
Is it Japanese?
Yes.
Is it from Honda? Honda
Honda the brand or Honda group?
So it's an Acura.
Dang it.
Is it an Acura NSX?
Yes.
You know what's crazy is one of the other technicians I work with, he owned a second gen one, like a 95.
Oh, that's the one everybody wants.
No, I asked him how much he bought it for. He was like, like 28, 30.
What?
Son of a... Yeah, like he bought it. He was a mortgage broker during the financial crisis.
Oh my gosh.
And while he was subverting the American economy, he used that blood money to buy an Acura NSX.
That's cool. What else do you do with it? You don't like help homeless children with it.
No.
All right, so the next one's guess the car. Is this mine or yours?
There's 20 questions. These are yours.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay.
All right, so you're quizzing Logan.
Yep.
20 questions. Ready, set, go.
Is it American?
No. Oh, yes, sorry.
Is it...
I confusing myself. I forgot which one was up. Yes, it is.
All right. Is it a Chrysler product?
No.
Is it a Ford product?
Nope.
How is it always the last one? Is it a GM? Is it a GM product?
It is a GM product.
Okay. Is it a Chevy?
Nope.
Is it a Saturn?
No.
Pontiac?
Yep.
Was it also sold in Australia under a different name?
Yup.
Is it a G8 GXP?
It is a Pontiac G8 GXP.
This doesn't work because I know you guys too well.
Yeah, you won't get this next one, though.
Sure, I won't.
Okay.
All right. Let's
I'm
see.
just going to look at the next one. Okay, is it American?
No.
Is it European?
It is European, yeah. The American question, during different periods, this company was owned by different parent companies, but we're going to say it's not American.
Is it Italian?
Nope.
Is it French?
Nope.
Is it British?
Yes.
I know Ford owned Aston Martin for a while. Is it an Aston Martin?
It's not.
Is it a Jaguar?
Nope.
Is it a Morgan?
No, I almost picked that, though.
Is it a Lotus?
Nope.
Kind of running out of car brands here.
Lotus was owned by GM for a little while.
Now they're owned by the Chinese.
I mean, aren't we all?
It's not a Morgan. It's not a Lotus. It's not a Jaguar. Is it a Bentley?
No.
Is it a Rolls Royce?
Nope.
Is it a Caterham?
Caterham? No.
Is it an Ariel Atom?
Ariel? No.
Are there any other English brands?
2 more I know of. There's actually a dozen more I know of off the top of my head. But we'll just leave British Leyland out of this. Like MG, Leyland, all those other like holdings. And
Was it a mass production vehicle?
yes. So it's not a McLaren, if that's what you're wondering.
Are those not considered mass production? There's a lot of those.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I think when you say mass production, I think of like the masses have them.
How many questions is that?
15.
I know you guys too well.
Yeah. If I could trade my car for anything, it might be that.
Is it a roadster?
It is.
Is it similarly priced to your vehicle, MSRP?
It is now. It was quite a bit more originally. If you were to buy them used, it's about what I bought mine used. But it was probably 2.5 times as expensive new.
Yeah. And you said it's not a Lotus?
It's not. Here's a big giveaway. Its cousin car was the Elise. It's the same car underneath.
The only car that I know of that shares components with the Elise is the Hennessy Venom.
Oh, and the Tesla Roadster does too. But it's not.
It's a Roadster, yeah. I don't know. I can't get it. What is it?
Do you know the name, Mason?
Is the make Vauxhall?
Vauxhall, yep.
Vauxhall is a British company.
Yeah, Vauxhall is British. It's one of the oldest British companies. It's from 1870 something. And it's the VX220. It is 3 inches shorter in height than my Miata.
Wow.
2 inches narrower and 5 inches shorter in length. It is smaller in every dimension and weighs 400 pounds less than the Miata. And
That's a go-kart.
has 220 horsepower. Mid-engine.
I see why you'd want that.
In about 18 months, they will be legal to import.
It's that old. Wow.
The first ones were 2000. The last was 2005. They only sold about 7,000 total.
Nice. Next up.
These are all mine, and Mason can see them, so it's for you.
Oh, God. Okay. Is it American?
So, first question, no, it's not American.
Is it European?
Yes.
Is it French?
No.
Is it Italian?
No.
Is it British?
Yep.
Is it one of the automakers that I named in the previous set of questions?
All of them? Yeah, it is one of those.
Is it an Aston Martin?
It is an Aston Martin.
Is it a DB9?
It is not. That is my favorite Aston, but it's not.
Car that was actually brought to market versus one of those one-off vehicles?
I don't know how to answer that.
Is it a Vulcan?
It is not a Vulcan. I won't, because I don't know how to answer that, I won't count it against you. What's your next question?
Valkyrie?
It is a Valkyrie. Aston Martin Valkyrie with a Cosworth V12.
I think the correct answer would be no, Jordan. I think
Well, because it hasn't been brought to market yet.
that's definitely like a Le Mans homologation car.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a place to park your money as an investment that doesn't get taxed. It's not something you commute to work in.
All right, trivia.
What was the first manufacturer to produce a twin-charged vehicle that is supercharged and turbocharged?
Bugatti.
No. Do you have an answer, Mason?
This is the one I already saw, so I do have an answer. And it's the correct answer.
Oh, really?
Or Logan, do you have another guess?
Ford.
Nope.
Wait, is this a production vehicle or like a race vehicle?
They had to homologate it with the same engine.
Okay, so it was both.
Yeah. And if I remember right, they didn't homologate it, meaning that they couldn't sell or make as many as they needed to homologate. So they drove them all across town. They said, we have 2 lots of these vehicles. And the inspector showed up at the first lot with like 300 vehicles when they needed 500. And they took them out to a long lunch and invited some attractive women to talk with and whatever else, and had lots of wine.
Such a European thing to do.
And then had their employees drive all 300 cars over to a different lot. And then when the very, very long lunch was over, they went to the second lot to go count them up.
I'm just imagining like they didn't have enough salesmen either, so it's just like all the same guys with like fake mustaches.
Just wearing the Groucho Marx sunglasses and mustaches.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. Pleasure meeting you for the first time, sir.
But yes, this is the Lancia Delta S4 Group B rally car.
That's pretty cool.
All right, next trivia. What vehicle has been the launch platform for all of the following features? Keyless entry, keyless ignition, radar cruise control, cylinder deactivation, ventilated seats, active brake assist, lane keep assist, rear seat airbags, crumple zones, electronic stability control, seatbelt pretensioners, air ride suspension, and CD players. One car pioneered all of these in mass market vehicles.
I want to take a whack at it real quick. Seeing some of these safety features on there, I'm thinking,
American.
yeah, for sure. I want to say a Volvo.
It's not a bad guess, but you have to think about what vehicle
Yeah, it's been around this long.
has had the same name for long enough to be the pioneer for all of these.
Would the CD player be the oldest thing on there?
Crumple zones, probably.
Oh, okay.
What were you thinking, Logan?
I think it would be Mustang.
Mustang, that's your guess?
Yeah.
Mason, are you set on like a Volvo?
I'm trying to think who came up with the rear seat airbags. It sounds like a Volvo thing to do.
It does, but also keep in mind it's an expensive thing to bring these things to market first.
Never mind. Not Mustang.
So probably a luxury vehicle. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say Cadillac.
Cadillac? Logan?
Well, actually, they haven't had a car that's been around that long.
I mean, Mustang has been around for a really long time. Maybe the Ford F-150.
I'm going to say the Jeep Grand Cherokee.
A truck and an SUV are bad guesses because they aren't actually subject to crash tests legally.
Okay. These are both terrible.
Okay, what is it?
The Mercedes-Benz S-Class.
Ah.
So you got the very first one, then you got one from the 80s, and then the 2005, and then the 2025.
We just lost all of our European viewer.
Every single one.
They're probably yelling at their screens.
Dipshit Americans are just like naming the most dog shit like Chrysler products.
Grand Cherokee, Mustang.
Yes, clearly. Fucking idiots.
What was the first year the Hemi V8 was offered as an option for road cars?
Is this a trick question? Because it didn't used to be called Hemi. It used to be called the Crossfire, right? Not Crossfire. Firepower.
There's Firepower. There's actually the Red Ram is another name for it when it was used in the Ram. So I'm talking about a V8 offered by Chrysler with hemispherical head.
Okay. So it wasn't called a Hemi then at the time.
No.
It was the first one.
But I would call it the precursor to the Hemi that we know and love.
Right, but it wouldn't have had like a Hemi badge. It would have
No, it would have said Firepower.
said Firepower.
OG Chrysler 300 or Chrysler Town and Country.
Well, what's the year? What was the first year the Hemi V8 was?
1953.
I'm going to say a little bit later. I'm going to say 58.
Logan was closer. The year is 1951.
Oh, wow.
The Chrysler New Yorker, the Chrysler Imperial, the Ram truck they had at the time. They had each brand, except for Plymouth, got a Hemi in 51 to use in their cars. And they were branded different things. They didn't all have the same brand yet. Here's the really cool part. This is a did you know I tacked on at the end of this. During World War II, and it was used in a 29.3 liter V12 when it was put in the M47 Patton tank, and that was used in World War II. That's not the biggest Hemi ever, though. The biggest Hemi ever was a V16, 36.4 liters. And you might do that math in your head and go like, oh, that's the same cylinder size, but just 16 of them. And it was going to be in the P-47 Republic Thunderbolt fighter aircraft, but the war ended before any of those were used in anger. They had some test flights, though, and that Thunderbolt outpaced the jet aircraft of the time. It had so much power that it could, with a single prop, accelerate a fighter aircraft over 500 miles an hour with a single prop. The fastest prop plane today is only 400 and something miles an hour.
And so they put it in a car instead.
Yeah. They're like, well, let's just roll this on over. And then 5 years later, they used the same technology and called it the Firepower.
Yeah.
We're on to guess the car. And this is going to be for Jordan.
Lexus LFA.
What? How did you get that?
Gap right here in the bottom of the hood.
The gap. Yeah, gap in the hood.
I mean, I intentionally left the gap, but I thought for sure that was way too hard.
Lexus LFA.
Okay, well, that's boring.
Okay.
All right, next one.
Oh, is this for Jordan or me?
This is for Jordan. All three of these are for Jordan. Then I got some for you.
Oh, this one's so easy.
Yeah, it's a BMW.
Mm-hmm.
And that grill is fake. So that's the BMW iX.
No.
i7.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 7 Series. But yeah.
Yeah, but the i7 looks different than the combustion 7 Series, specifically the grille. Also, look at the blue accents. I'm pretty sure that's BMW's little signifier.
So I knew it better than the guy who put it together.
I guess. The 7 Series.
I'm attracted to women that look like the BMW's headlights.
Is your wife around? And now we lost all of our Japanese viewers.
Yeah, the Japanese viewers are gone.
Lamborghini Diablo.
It is Diablo.
The rims gave it away for the year.
All right, well, those are way too easy. Logan, this one's for you. Guess this car by the zoomed in picture.
Oh, why is mine? Oh, that's a Lucid Air.
Yep, you got it. All right, here's your next one.
That is a. Oh man, I know what it is.
What is it?
I know. I've seen it before. Is it the Pure Blood? The Ferrari.
The Pure
Blood?
Segway? Nope.
Close.
It's the other end of the spectrum, man.
I feel like there's like a Hyundai or something that has headlights kind of like
This
this.
speaks volumes to how much better this car looks now.
Than its previous generation.
Oh, it's the Prius.
It is the Prius.
It's like McLaren. You and I were like,
Mason and I looked at each other like, really?
Yeah, it's the Prius.
All right, Logan. What car is that?
This is a Hellcat owned by someone who should be shamed.
Incorrect. It's a Scat Pack owned by someone who should be shamed.
Yeah. Have you seen people sell decals now to go on the splitter?
Oh,
That
so it looks like they're still on
is
there.
Yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they. I feel like that kind of splits the difference, to be honest, on having the bananas. You know, it's like if you really want them on there, you know, it's like the same thing. What is the purpose of those hood pins in the hoods of vehicles? Like, aren't those pretty much purely aesthetic?
Quick access during race environments. So you can access it from outside of the car.
I see. Yeah, bananas, hood pins, whatever.
But now they're purely aesthetic. It's just one more step to get your hood open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Now let's guess that car again.
Actually, no, Jordan is quizzing you.
You would know this.
I knew it instantly.
Yeah, it's a GMC Sierra.
Yep.
That's weird. He recognized it, but there were no rocks in the grill.
What?
When I crashed it into a ditch.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did crash into a ditch.
I like how like the only picture you could find is one that's just absolutely housed already.
Yeah. I was trying to find a red one that had two doors instead of four, and there's no picture. No one kept those going. There's no nice ones left. Myself included, I spun a main bearing, gunning it down a back road with my friends in the bed until I killed that truck.
Nice.
Is this one for me as well?
Yep. That one is for you.
Dude, I don't know. It kind of looks like a old Lexus or something. I don't know.
Best guess. What do you got?
Is it a Toyota Land Cruiser?
No, it's not.
Ah, Toyota Sequoia.
It's your car.
It's the car you drive around and take pictures of.
Although that's not my. Oh, is it? Yep, that is my generation of Sequoia.
Yep, it's the same year.
I know this one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, WRX STI.
Yeah. WRX STD. It is.
All right. How about this one?
What am I even looking at here?
I'll tell him what he's looking at.
It is a side mirror, yes.
It's a triangular side mirror.
Would you have gotten it from that picture?
No.
I like I said, I had to zoom in really far to not make this car immediately recognizable.
Dude, I don't know.
The side mirror is not the only thing triangular.
I have no idea what that would even be.
All right, well, go ahead and go to the next picture.
The Cybertruck. I see.
I tried to leave in a little bit of stainless steel in the previous photo. But yeah, I had to find something on here that wasn't just immediate giveaway. And I was like, side mirror and some glass, maybe.
Might as well just take a picture of the sky behind it. Like, what car is this?
Yeah. All right, what's this next one?
It's a McLaren.
I will accept named after Elon Musk's kid.
I know. I was going to say, it looks like it's the older one, the MPC 12-C.
It's the MP4-12C.
I thought it was an MC12.
No, MP4-12C.
I labeled it MC12 because I didn't know what it was either.
It's the MP4-12C. It's the 458 Italia competitor. Okay. And technically speaking, it is faster, turns harder, quicker, and can get around a track in less time. Every single metric, it is better than the 458 Italia. I would still take the 458 Italia.
Most people would.
Flat plane Ferrari V8, naturally aspirated. Yes.
Blind ranking. So rank these cars 1 to 5 without knowing what comes next, Jordan. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, we did glow ups. Now you're going to rank glow downs.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
So which of these cars had the most significant glow down?
So what car looked worse?
It could be looked, it could be performance, it could be lost the essence of what it is, however you perceive it. But the worst of them is number 1.
Okay.
So you have the original on the left and the newest version on the right. What do you think? 1 to 5. How bad is this glow down?
It looks pretty good. Even if it's not a good car, it looks pretty good. I'm going to call that a 4.
Okay, so not so bad.
Not so bad. If it was a 370 there, I'd give it like a 2.
Lancia Delta.
Oh my god, that's got to be number 1.
The Integrale Evo 2. Oh, so cool. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I'm going to call that a 2. I think there's probably something worse.
It's actually sold as a Chrysler in the UK. A Chrysler Delta.
Yeah, that makes sense. They still sell the 300 over there.
Yeah.
They also sold a 300 wagon with the V8
and the SRT.
They had. I don't know if they had the wagon with the SRT, but if they did, they
had the SRT way longer. They continue to have the SRT 300.
I'm going to call that a 5 because I like the way the new one looks. If it actually looks like that when it comes out, I'm going to say that's not that bad.
Okay.
It looks shockingly similar to the original concept from the 90s.
It does.
The side profile for sure.
Oh gosh.
I knew this was coming. I knew as soon as you said glow downs, I was like, this is in here.
So you have 1 and 3 left.
I'm going to call that 1.
That's pretty bad. That's rough.
And for being such a missed opportunity with this, obviously with the success of the Wrangler and the Bronco, and they're just like, nah, mid-size crossover. Let's make another one. Let's add another one to our fleet of 7.
Just like that, I guess at some owners meeting or a shareholder call, they were talking about making a Corvette crossover.
Probably on the same platform as that too.
Probably look exactly like that, yeah.
And the Chevy Trax, which actually looks good. So like the Blazer has no justification to exist whatsoever.
All right, so this would be your number 3 then.
Oh, that's really bad. That's okay. That's okay. I would have given that a 1 as well.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, but hey, here's the thing. The new M3, for as ugly as it is, does everything under the hood better than the version on the left. The new Blazer does everything worse than the other Blazer, other than fuel efficiency.
This one's at least shooting for the same thing as the original M3, even though this M3 on the right is larger significantly than the M5 of that generation on the left.
Blind ranking. Logan, rank these 5 vehicles without knowing what comes next. The category is T-tops.
Cool.
Everybody loves T-tops. Screaming Chicken.
Trans Am.
Yeah, Firebird, right?
Yeah, Firebird.
Dude, that's so cool. Here's the only problem with that. You know what I've thought about this car is like every guy who drives this looks like he has to have like a big bushy Dale Earnhardt mustache. You know what I mean? But then if you look at the front of the car, It's got its own mustache. You see, like, where the headlights are? Like, there's two mustaches.
This picture smells like cigarettes.
Oh, these things are cool.
So what do you rank it, 1 to 5?
I don't know. I'm kind of with the Miami vibe. So I would say this is number 3.
3? Okay.
In that color, too.
Yeah, you'd have to get it in that color.
Black and gold.
C3.
I really don't care for these very much, actually.
Not even the side pipe exhaust.
I'd rather have the C2 with the side pipe exhaust.
Yeah, number 5.
5? Okay.
All right. Oh, all right.
Now we're cooking with oil.
Dude, now we're... dude, speed. I am speed. Number 1, dude.
Number 1? I figured you'd put this in number 1.
What is it? A Suzuki Swift?
Suzuki X90.
X90. Okay. Jeez.
What is that? A 270Z or something like that?
240?
280ZX? Yeah.
I don't know. Not big on it. 4.
4. So that leaves number 2.
Fiero? Dude, perfect. That's perfect. I couldn't have done it better.
Really? You're happy with that?
X90 first, Fiero second. 3 is Trans Am. 4 is that Nissan, and 5 is the Corvette.
Yeah.
Nice. That Corvette does look good in that color, though.
I'm bringing in a new segment called Old School versus New School.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you a bunch of generations of cars. You're going to tell me which generation you would pick.
Okay.
First one.
Oh, man.
Ooh, the old Countach versus new Countach.
You can only have one, and this is...
I don't have the love or nostalgia for the old one. I just know that it's extremely loud and really hard to live with. So I'll go with the new one.
I totally get the new one, too.
Only answer. Yeah, it's so good. They did such a good job.
And Lamborghini doesn't do
So
that.
cool.
They don't
No.
reuse old car names.
No, and I would bet, speaking of that Trans Am, I would bet there is a lot of cocaine that comes with that when you buy it.
Oh, yeah.
It has the removable mirror.
That's why the mirror in the Countach came off for, I don't know, credit card organization or something. But it did actually come off.
That's why they all came in white.
You couldn't tell. It was...
All right, next one. Which one would you take? Old school or new school? Golf.
Generation 7.5. GTI from Generation 7.5, 2017.
That one's like the back left one, right?
I had
You
Gen
sold
7.
those.
I did. I sold Gen 6 and Gen 7.
It had the checker seats.
Oh, yeah, with the golf ball shifter. Yeah, I would get the manual GTI 2-door. And behind that, I would get exactly the car that I had, which was the 2015 TDI wagon. Freaking awesome car.
All right. Old school or new school? Ford GT.
Does this count the GT40?
Yeah, GT40 is right there.
GT40.
I think I would go with the 06.
Oh, really?
Yep, the new one is just never did anything for me. The new one's really cool, but it's just not like, it doesn't capture my heart like a Carrera GT does or like a Miata does. I think it's a cool engineering thing, but it's just didn't do it for me. I would take the 06 one.
And this is your car to do whatever you want with. You can modify it. You can drive it, not drive it. The only thing you can't do is sell it. You have to have it, own it.
Then yeah, I'd still take the 06 because the GT40 is, again, I tend to lean toward things that are a little bit easier to live with. And the original GT40 a literal race car, and I can't sell it for millions and millions of dollars, I'll go with the 2006.
Miata.
Easy.
The one you have.
ND.
Yeah.
2022. The one I have. Now, Tisha, my wife, would absolutely love the one on the left in that color with the pop-up headlights. And we would get a modification kit day one so that she could pop up one headlight at a time and wink at people. That's all she wants.
Even if you could have unlimited money to modify it however you want.
Still the ND.
Okay.
Because the NC is heavier. The NB is still the NA. They're on the same, it's just slightly different, very slightly different. But the NB and NA you could call as basically the same generation. The NC was slightly heavier at like 2,500 pounds, 2,550 or something. And then the ND, it's like, it's pretty much universally praised as the best Miata ever.
All right. And final one, Corvette.
C2, 1963 boat tail.
Boat tail. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
In powder blue.
What if you link it in red? Still?
Then I'd probably do the C1.
Oh, really? That would change it for you? The color?
Right.
It might, because the C1 looks much better in red. But yeah, the C2 looks, the long flat hood with the aggressive wheel arches, just, oh, so good. I think the one people would choose the least often is the C4.
Yeah. Or maybe the C5.
I like the C5.
No, because you could get the Z06 for not that much money. People would pick that all the time. And it has, the C5 is a significantly more capable vehicle than the C4. The C4 was barely faster than a Fiera.
The C5 had to be one of the last vehicles on sale with pop-up headlights.
One of two.
Yeah, that and the Lotus
Esprit.
Okay.
Lotus Esprit. Mm-hmm.
All right, Logan, now it's your turn. Old school versus new school. Which generation of this car would you choose to own?
Okay.
Ford Mustang.
Ooh.
Logan, you would take the 76 Mustang too, just like your coworker, right?
No, I have eyes. I'm not very partial towards the older ones, so I would just take the newest one.
I know which one I would take. I've pined after this car for a long time. I would have the 2007.
The one from I Am Legend, the GT500.
It's the only car I've ever seen that you can modify it pretty much any way you want. Body kit, spoiler, whatever. It always looks good.
Next one, Logan. Which generation would you take?
DB.
I think the original one would be cool.
The DB. That's the DB5 there on the left, I think.
But it would be DB3, I think, was the first.
Yeah, the one on the left.
The one on the left, DB5. And that's the DB12 on the right?
I might have the DB5 over DB9.
Really? Just because of the James Bondness?
Yeah.
Well, where the DB9 will look its age in about 5 to 10 years, the DB5 will only look better
As time goes on.
Yeah.
All right.
Chevy truck.
Chevy truck.
Yeah, like a square body generation.
It was really hard to find a picture that had all of the generations in it.
Which is weird.
It is weird because there's a million of them.
Yeah, one from the 80s, I guess. Like a K, what is it, like the K5?
Or the K2500 four-wheel drive.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Those are good trucks. We've had a couple of those. I think everyone has. All right. And finally, 911.
Well, it's got to be air-cooled. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I would say, I don't know, the newest one.
Newest one. Which one would you take?
I would take the 993, the last air-cooled.
I would take the, what's the newest one that you can get the big number on the side, but it's basically a GT3 RS, but it's toned down a little bit, but you still get the manual.
Inspired.
And it's not turbo.
That's what I'd take.
Nice.
I got to log off because I got work tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, Logan.
Talk to you guys later.
Okay.
So cousin cars.
Cousin cars.
So the game here is you're looking at a vehicle you've probably seen before, but with a different badge or slightly different body on it. So what is the American version of that car?
I know this weird belt line crease in the side and those ugly fake hood vent things is on a Buick.
Yes.
But I don't know which Buick. I don't know which one.
Our grandfather had one.
Bose?
Yes, which makes sense for a Buick. This is a Korean market Alpheon EL300, by the way.
Oh, it's sold in Korea.
Yeah.
And it's a Buick. I don't know.
Buicks.
Lacrosse.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten it if I didn't ride in it several times with Grandpa.
I feel like they had to put that crease thing in the side just to make it have some sort of character at all.
Going on.
Yeah.
Go to the next one. The American market, I think, actually looks a little better.
Yeah, see, it has those.
The vents on
Those
the
vents.
outside. No. Well, I think.
I
some of
think
them
they
have
did
the
have it on the inside because
some
I think that's just a slightly different.
year.
But like the headlights are slightly different, the fog lights are slightly different, but that's as rough and as direct as badge engineering gets.
Yeah, there it is. But I mean, Korea and the United States, you're never gonna. Those two cars aren't gonna ever be found side by side anywhere.
No.
That's a giant car in Korea.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. All right.
That is a Holden,
I
and
know.
its model name is the same as it is in the U.S. So I'll tell you, it's a Holden.
I drove one of those on my mission. That is a Cruise,
That is.
Chevy Cruise.
So in that case, it's a Holden Cruise. And when I was looking at pictures of this, you know how if you look up pictures of the Fiat Multipla, all the headlines, all the articles say like ugliest car ever. Click here for the list of the top 5 ugliest cars. When I look up a picture of the Chevy Cruze, it's worst car ever, least reliable car ever, car with maintained the least value ever. Like these are all the
Yeah. People do not like that car.
they're hateful little boxes.
Now-
I liked it when I drove it, but I only had it for its first 5,000 miles. So for the first 5,000 miles, they're great. They're great little cars.
What car is that?
I'm trying to cover the badge.
This is deceptively proportioned. With the lift and the plastic, this looks like a much larger car than it is. This thing is barely bigger than a Fiat 500.
Like a Chevy Sonic.
Nope.
Is it about that size though?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a Japanese car?
Nope.
Is it an American car?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a GM car?
Mm-hmm. Very close to the Chevy Sonic.
I don't know.
Go to the next one. It was also the Vauxhall Viva. Doesn't that look more familiar without the body cladding?
A little bit, but I don't know Vauxhalls as well.
Okay, hold on. Before you go to the next one, go look at the name of the next one. The Opel Carl.
Carl. I know.
Carl.
Yeah.
But, I mean, first things first, it's a Chevy Spark.
Oh.
But I gotta tell you, I was thinking up all kinds.
What did I say? Oh, I said Sonic. That's
Yeah.
right. It is.
I was thinking up all kinds of funny like car names that are actually just like middle-aged man names, like the BMW Larry, or the Tesla Model Esther, the Tesla Cybertruck. Yeah, it's a Chevy Spark.
Yeah.
You can see how lifting it and adding that plastic cladding.
Makes it look a lot bigger.
Go back to the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't it change?
That looks like
and
a-
the roof rails.
SUV size, not like
Yeah.
super compact.
I was looking at the pictures side by side over and over again. I'm like, sure enough, it's the same thing. It just looks way bigger. Anyway, I had another one. What is that?
Yeah, that is the Volkswagen Passport?
Nope.
No.
That's in Honda.
No, well, give me the first letter.
R.
Give me the second letter.
O.
I know it.
U.
Rutan.
Yeah.
Volkswagen Rutan.
Rutan. And that's my car.
That's
Yep.
the-
Go ahead and go to the next picture.
Grand Caravan.
Yep.
Yeah, that color too.
Different rims, though. You got different rims.
That's it.
Oh. I swore I had more.
Moving on to the discussion segments. Starting with the news. So, we talk about this company quite a bit, and the inevitable has happened. So, Fisker has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, which basically provides protection from creditors while it tries to reorganize, open up new lines of revenue, new investments.
Potential for them to get bought out.
Yes. So there's potential the company could become more stable, in a more stable financial position after this. It just kind of gives them the flexibility, the time to try to do that. So the Fisker Oceans that currently exist are going to continue to work. You can charge and drive your car and all that. The cloud-based functionality that the car relies on will remain operational as long as the servers are running, which they will continue to run. The app functionality is also reliant on that. A lot of these electric cars are very reliant on the smartphone connectivity. It makes a lot of things very convenient, but when so much of the car is done through an app, it also makes it very dubious when the company that supports the app is filing for bankruptcy protection.
This is the first one of these we've seen, right? If normally these companies that fail, especially EV ones, fail before they get the car out.
Right. Or they're big enough that...
Yeah, but if they get to the point where they're actually selling to the public, This is the first one that's gotten to sell to the public that went under.
in significant numbers.
Yeah.
Enough that I've actually seen their cars around.
I can't say I've seen one in person.
We saw one right after we picked up your Miata.
Oh,
That
yeah.
charging station.
That's true.
Don't expect any over-the-air updates anytime soon. They are focusing on trying to turn a profit and make money. Maybe not turn a profit, but just...
Yeah. I imagine all of those software engineers are at home right now, not getting paid.
As far as warranties and repairs go, as long as Fisker, they're obligated to warranty their products and honor the warranty as long as they're still in business. So, in theory, you can still get your car warranted, repaired, any recalls you can bring to them. But in practice, that may be a very lengthy, very difficult thing to do.
You are framing this like you're talking to Fisker Ocean owners. What's the Venn diagram of people that will watch this? And
People are still curious.
That's true.
What do those people do now?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about it. I'm just saying that the way you're framing it is like, all of you dozens and dozens of Fisker Ocean owners.
there are a lot of EV startups, though.
That's true. And it's something to consider is, do you want to jump in and be in?
What happens in the case that this EV startup you're investing in by buying one of their cars goes under? This is probably good to know. This is, like you said, this is the first we've really seen of any significant number. Insurance, another question. Are you still going to be able to insure your car if the company doesn't exist anymore?
Can, I imagine, but if there's no parts or service support,
Right.
I mean, in recent memory, there was Pontiac and Saturn that went under, and those cars are still serviced at GM dealers.
But
They don't have infrastructure to repair these vehicles. Like, who would you bring it to?
But there were like parts and engines potentially that were used in Saturns that weren't used in other cars. So I wonder what happened with those. Maybe GM continues to build those specific parts.
Maybe until the warranty expires.
Yeah, and maybe whatever company buys up Fisker,
But GM still exists
Right.
to make those products.
whatever company or entity or holdings group or whatever snaps up Fisker, maybe they're obligated to continue.
Maybe
support.
maybe that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
So there's still potential for Fisker to turn this around. If they don't, if they fail to recover, the company will need to liquidate, sell all their assets, auction them off, their real estate, their machines, their dies.
It's not unheard of for companies to still live past Chapter 11.
Yeah.
Chapter 7 is a different thing.
Right.
That's when they start to auction everything.
That's when they're just like liquidate everything.
Yeah.
That's when the company's brand isn't worth anything. All that's worth is like the land it's sitting on
Yeah.
and the metal itself and whatever.
It's possible another larger company will pick up Fisker, buy it, the whole thing outright for cents on the dollar at this point. I say that's probably most likely.
You know, I put my odds on favorite in for doing that. Nissan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're already working with
Oh, there.
they're already working with Fisker to bring the Fisker Alaska to market and rebadge it as a electric Frontier. They already have a vested interest in Fisker and their technology. It wouldn't shock me for Nissan to see a brand failing and go like, "Hey, we want to do that."
Not even the GTR is.
Yeah, good point.
Selling.
Speaking of which,
Oh, look.
it's like all the things we talked about recently, and now something's happening.
And the one I was talking about is also a development on my new segment is also
Previous story.
Yeah, so we were talking. It was Jordan. Oh, it wasn't a hot take. It was just something he had said from last podcast. Was that they just need to put the GTR out to pasture if they're not going to do anything with it
Yeah.
other than raise the price.
all they're doing is raising the price and adding effectively nothing.
Yeah.
And there it goes. Goodbye.
It's kind of like I thought about what you said. I didn't think it was super fair, but the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like a TV show that you really liked.
That's a really good analogy.
It went on way longer than it should have, and they didn't innovate. They didn't do anything with it. It just got really stale, and the quality of the show just kind of went down over time.
Big Bang Theory.
I'm sure a million TV shows come to mind. But they didn't do anything significant with it. They had a hit on their hands, and it just lived way past its prime.
Star Wars.
2024 is the last model year for the U.S. It will still be made abroad through the 2025 model year. It's not going to be sold here.
Oh, they're not sold here anyway.
Yeah, they don't
Because
sell a lot.
nobody buys them.
It was launched in 2007. It was an absolute haymaker. Like it
took the whole car world by storm.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what to do with it.
I think I said it was 75 when it came out. I looked it up. It's like 67 when it came out. $67,000. And it was literally driving circles around everything else that was on sale at the time.
In 2000, you said 2000.
2007.
And it could outpace a Ferrari F430, I'm sure. Maybe not the Scuderia.
So for its, final year, they're coming out with 2 special editions. I did some research to figure out what's really special about them. Some nice, like, artistic, I don't know how you phrase it, but like details, I guess, aesthetics. They're not a whole lot different. They're like special edition colors and then interior trim pieces and interior colors and stuff, but nothing.
Nothing of like real substance.
So
This is sorry, go ahead.
The 2 trims are the T-Spec Takumi edition and the Skyline edition. And there will be fewer than 200 of these made, which doesn't sound like very many, but I don't know that they sell a ton of those anyway.
Yeah, I imagine being that the last ones, they will sell out. I don't think they're going to have them sitting on lot.
Being the last one, for sure.
This car was debuted and known for its 0 to 60 time because it was one of the first cars with
Launch control.
launch control. Because every single time it will smack out at the same 0 to 60 time and it'll do it over and over again. If you use the launch control, it voids your warranty on that car.
Which is a feature they shipped the car with.
A feature that was the halo feature of this car. And if you use it, it voids your warranty. And you can't just tell the people at the dealership, oh, I've never used it. Your car will tell on you that you used it.
I do think that changed.
That it doesn't void the warranty anymore?
When it first came out, yeah. And it was like a certain number of launches with the launch control.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like Dodge Demon, not built, the engine in that is not built in, famously, the V6 in this GTR was built in like a clean room environment.
Well, that's the Takumi edition, is named after the Takumi master craftspeople that hand build each engine.
To my point, the Dodge Demon is built by a bunch of good old boys, and that car will warranty 60,000 miles.
And it does wheelies.
It does wheelies, right, on its launch control, and it will warranty for 60,000 miles.
That Takumi edition is midnight purple exterior with Mori green interior. It's got a gold-plated VIN and red scripted engine badge that shows it's got the red coloring of the signature of the person who built the engine. It's like, that's cool.
You know what that screams of is like, what's the cheapest things we can add to this to make people want it?
I think this car now goes for like $128,000. Do you want to know how much that Takumi edition is?
It's probably like an extra 20, which is like a whole other car on top of it.
Yeah.
It's $153,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Then the blue one is the Skyline edition. So they're bringing the Skyline name to the US finally. It's got Bayside blue exterior with Sora blue interior. Beyond that, I don't know that there's some badging that says Skyline on it, but that's kind of it. And that starts the more reasonable $133,000.
How disappointing is that? They just bring the Skyline name here for like, we really just got to sell the last of these GTRs.
So it's hard to see in this picture, but it's like this midnight, it's like purpley, almost green looking in some angles. Mm-hmm. And then the inside is this like dark green. It looks nice. And then the Bayside blue Skyline edition.
I mean, it is a pretty car. The proportions are great.
What helped it out a lot is that the styling was very simple and timeless in a way. So it was able to just kind of
stay,
continue to not need to be updated. So it didn't look outdated after a decade and a half. And then that's the interior. It's like a light blue interior.
It looks pretty outdated.
And it's got carbon fiber in the middle. And
maybe I'm just a cynic about Nissans, but I imagine that's like the Amazon special stick-on carbon fiber.
No, it looked real. At least from the close-up pictures I saw, it looked real. Okay. So that's it. Farewell to the GTR.
Yeah. Goodbye.
All right. More exciting news. Bugatti Tourbillon, which is, I believe, how it's pronounced, Tourbillon. They went with a V16 instead of a W16 configuration this time. Still an outrageous number of cylinders, but now a much longer V configuration instead of a W. And the reason they did that, They wanted to keep the 16 cylinders because
It's a Bugatti.
Yeah, who wants to buy it?
You know?
It's supposed to be the top of the top.
exactly.
It would be cool
But-
for a 14 because I don't know of anything that's ever been a 14 cylinder.
Well, that's because you need like 7 cylinders on each side if it was a V configuration,
Which is not, it's not balanced and whatever. Yeah.
the W16 configuration doesn't work very well in a naturally aspirated situation. Lining up the intakes and exhaust and getting the right power and torque curve is harder to do naturally aspirated with the W16. When you turbocharge it, it's fine. Naturally aspirated doesn't work as well. So they wanted to keep 16 cylinders, but instead went with a V configuration, and it's naturally aspirated, but it also has 3 electric motors, 2 in the front, 1 in the back.
Do you know that W is not... People think of the W16 as 2 V8s next to each other. They're not. And I can totally see why, thinking of 8 cylinders on 1 cylinder head smashed together, getting the right aspiration through that would be really difficult.
Yeah.
And then double that difficulty on the other side. Now, turbocharging can make up for a lot of...
You can get the air in
you
where
can-
you need it to go.
You can just punch
Force
the
it in.
air.
in as hard as you want.
1,000 horsepower of that comes just from the V16. Just 1,000 horsepower. An additional 800 horsepower. These are just astronomical numbers. 800 horsepower, that's like Dodge Demon level. Mm-hmm. And that's just the electric. And that's not even the bulk of the power. The bulk of the power is still coming from the engine.
Which I believe is what you said, 3 electric motors?
3 electric motors.
1 in the rear, 2 in the front.
Weird.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
Well,
What's the packaging look like
I don't
on...
know. On a V16.
It may be the only thing that makes sense.
Right.
Interestingly, they didn't want to make it any longer. The designers said, the team working on it were like, we don't want this car to be any longer. Please, don't make it any longer. And they're like, well, this is a V16 engine. So somehow, just with magic, I guess, they managed to, I think it's only maybe 2 inches longer or something, like almost negligible.
Lengthwise.
I did see that too, that they were really concerned about proportions.
Yeah.
And that if you change wheelbase, it changes how the roof line looks, and it's a whole thing.
Changes a lot.
It's under 2 tons.
That's interesting
Right.
that they managed to drop so much weight. They did drop a few hundred pounds.
Adding in 3 electric motors and a battery.
Yeah.
And it gets something like 30 or 40 miles of all electric.
Which is a pretty hefty battery, but the thing's got to be super slippery to do the speeds it does.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So it's got to have like an amazing drag coefficient. And he was talking about that. The drag coefficient for top speed isn't nearly, it's important, but not nearly as important as the frontal area. So if you look at the car from the top, you'll notice the whole thing is kind of pointy. Like it's wider at the back than it is at the front by like a pretty significant amount. So it actually kind of comes to a point. Now, unless you look at it like directly top down, you won't really notice. Like circling around the car, you won't really notice that it's like pointier at the front, but it is because they're just trying to minimize that frontal area.
How cool are those flying fenders too in the front?
Yeah.
0 to 60 under 2 seconds.
Monstrous. That means it's one of 3 cars that can do that.
Yeah, except where electric cars will start to die off at 100, 150 miles an hour. This thing will hit 124 in under 5 seconds.
That means that before my Miata can get basically a whole second before my Miata can get to 60, this thing is doing more than double that.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're direct competitors.
Yeah, people cross-shop those all the time. Top speed is limited to a reasonable 277. But if you look at the speedometer, I noticed it goes up to 550 kilometers an hour, which is 342 miles an hour. The Chiron, without the limiters on it, did like 305 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's great.
And this is more aerodynamic and more powerful than the Chiron.
And weighs less.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is top speed is almost not impacted by weight whatsoever.
Interesting.
Because you add weight to the vehicle, it's actually able to push through the air better because it has momentum behind it. You subtract weight, it's almost like adding or removing weight does nothing to the top speed. I watched a video breakdown on this, and I actually already knew that because I was designing a car in Forza to try to go as fast as I can, and I found in Forza, no matter how much weight savings I do, it didn't affect the top speed by more than like a mile an hour. Which I kind of thought through. I was like, I guess that makes sense. You add weight to it, which you'd think would slow it down, but it actually allows it to push through the air better. The only thing it does is it adds a little bit of rolling resistance by adding weight. So it does slow it down, but taking off a bunch of weight isn't really going to make the car go any faster.
It's not where you want to spend your time and energy.
Yeah.
If your objective is top speed.
What you need to do is add more power, which is what they did. And reduce by as much as you can the frontal area. Try to make it as pointy as you can.
Which is probably why they wanted to keep the length shorter, because then the roofline doesn't have to go up to compensate visually. They did mention that. One of the designers did mention that he didn't want to raise the roofline at all.
Yeah.
And that the whole thing's even shorter than it was before. Somehow. You're already laying down in a Chiron.
And it comes in at, mere $4 million. Tourbillon, the name, it's named after a sophisticated component found in like premium watch pieces. What I understand,
Of course it is.
gravity has an effect on the accuracy of a timepiece over a long enough time. And this specific component is in there to counteract it. Now, don't ask me the exact engineering or whatever, but it's a very sophisticated component that they named the car after. And if you look at the interior trim pieces and the gauge cluster and everything, you'll see this is very much inspired by watches and the intricacies of those premium watchmakers. They actually traveled to like the main watch component manufacturer in Europe, not like Rolex or whatever, the people who make the components that Rolex and whatever use for their watches. They went with like kind of a timeless theme. They didn't go with any screens, so I'll show you a picture. Have you seen the dash?
Oh, it's so cool.
It's not a screen. It is complete, and it's real. Those aren't just gears in there for the sake of looking sophisticated. They're actually doing something. And the stuff that comes in digitally, like even your fuel level comes in like digitally, it translates that into an analog and then gives you the actual gears turning that move that little dial of your fuel gauge or whatever.
That's so cool. And that's not something you could put in a economy car. That's not a car you build to a dollar amount.
I bet you that cluster alone,
That's probably $500,000 of the price. Yeah.
it's striking.
It really is. And they took there was pictures of it without the body panels. He said that horseshoe grille is so integral to the design that you could take off every body panel and every component and you could look at it and go, that's Bugatti. Because it's part of the crash structure. It's part of the spine of the car.
The diffuser. Did you hear them talk about the diffuser?
Mm-mm.
It is massive. It is so massive. But the thing about diffusers, and when you look at them on cars and they look goofy, it's because they don't really do anything. Because there's a ratio you can't go beyond for a diffuser to actually be effective. If the diffuser goes really high up the back of the car, the air is not actually sticking to the vehicle. It's just coming out from underneath. And if anything, it's creating turbulence down there. Mm-hmm. So there's a certain ratio you can't go past, especially when you're going really fast, where you can only have it so sloped. So if you have a diffuser that comes halfway up the vehicle, that means that slope has to start halfway down the vehicle, which it does. So the whole vehicle is pointed toward the front and also kind of does this kind of teardrop shape. If you were to remove the tires and look underneath it, it goes up, like the whole thing. And when you look at the engine, you can see the whole engine is tilted to compensate for that.
That's cool.
And the whole thing is carbon fiber, and it is so rigid that it actually doesn't need a rear bumper, which means you can fully expose the rear tires, which they do. You can see the entire tire from behind the car. And you have a massive diffuser and the whole meaty, super wide tire sitting there, and it looks like nothing else.
It does look like nothing that has ever been built.
Because they don't have to have a beam there for a bumper or anything. Like the diffuser is so big and so rigid that it is the bumper.
That's really cool.
There's the gauges. That is all functional.
This is a picture?
I don't know if this specifically is a picture or not, but this is what it actually looks like in real life. And all of those inner working pieces are real and they are functioning. And
have you seen how fast they move, though, in the video? like right here, this one is your RPM, the inside one.
Yeah.
And then I think this one
Speed
is
on the outside.
yeah, how fast you're going. So this one will go like bah, 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 as that one's going slowly.
It's like a watch.
Yeah. It's really cool.
And leaning on the theme of timeless, we talked about this a few weeks ago, some luxury car brands are actually moving toward decluttering the inside of the car, because if you add a ton of screens and stuff that look super modern right now, it's going to look really dated in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And so there's no screens, except you need a rear view camera in modern cars in Europe. And so you need a screen to see the camera. So actually out of the dash, this little screen, if you press a button, will come up and do like a 90-degree turn and be your rear view camera, and then
go away.
And go away. You can leave it up, and it has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but most of the time it's not there. There aren't screens really. I think the dials, when you turn the dials, they have a screen on the end. Like when you're changing the temperature, it's a physical dial, but the end of the dial is a screen that shows you like the temperature and stuff.
Yeah.
You know. So it's cool. Super cool.
It is.
So I took this picture and the next picture as just screenshots from CDK's website. Who's CDK? CDK Global makes the dealership management software and a whole bunch of other stuff for dealerships all over the US and probably all over the world.
Have you used the software?
I have. I've used versions. There's like Salesforce and other stuff. The consolidation that's happened in this market is such that when this issue happened with CDK that I'll get into, it affected 15,000 dealerships because that's who uses their software. And you might go, what does that mean? How many dealers are there? There are 16,835 franchise dealerships in the US, 15,000 of which
That's 90% of them?
had this issue. This here is what CDK does. They do digital retail. They do finance and insurance. They do all of the documentation and insurance for all of the vehicles that come in and go and all the vehicles that they sell to customers. The customer relationship management. So that's a software that allows them to do follow-up calls and all kinds of stuff. Dealership experience platform. So that's the interface between the dealership and CDK or whatever, Salesforce, whatever software they're using. So networking communication services. So how these dealerships talk to other dealerships, how they manage to place orders to the manufacturer, how they do everything. The dealer management system, so that's how they receive and track inventory. Vehicle shows up with the wrong seats in it. Order parts. So fixed operations, anytime that they have a customer's vehicle come in for a repair. Technical service bulletins from the manufacturer. Everything that happens at a dealership goes through CDK Global software. Okay, next one. You can leave that up for them, but I need to see this. I guess you can't leave that for them. So here's a timeline. Wednesday, June 19th, just a few days ago, CDK Global was hacked. Systems were shut down to protect customers' data. Too late. Their entire network of dealership was unable to log in to anything. That means that people that haven't done paperwork with paper in decades now had to figure out, one, where to print it if you can't log in, and what all of it says, and if any of it's updated to reflect new laws or new whatever. So they can't even sell cars.
Well, they still can't sell cars.
Or they have some kind of deferred paperwork agreement where they can finish paperwork in a number of days or whenever they can manage to figure it out. So the systems were restarted on June 19th in the afternoon, but that evening it was hit by a second cyber attack. Basically them saying like, don't even bother. We've got you by the short and curlies. The next day, June 20th, the dealers were then informed of the second cyber attack, and they were told that the systems were shut down again, and they were told that the systems would stay down indefinitely pending a cybersecurity resolution. That's Thursday the 20th. Friday, big sales day. Not as big as Saturday, but still big. Systems remained down going into the weekend where most sales occur. 80+% of sales happen Friday to Sunday, right? Bloomberg reports that the group claimed to have hacked CDK and demanded a ransom in a non-specific tens of millions of dollars. And apparently United Health and other insurance companies got hacked just last year and paid the ransom of $50 million to basically asked them nicely to leave them alone. They could have still released all of their customers' information. The stock value of the largest dealership networks in the country, including AutoNation, took hits. And CDK's parent company, Brookfield Business Partners LP, experienced a 5.7% stock price drop, biggest in almost a year, and is planning to pay the ransom.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, of tens of millions of dollars. How many millions of dollars are they losing every day right now not being up and running? This is the problem when everything's digital and someone gets your number.
Yeah.
Someone's password was password. And here we are. It's crazy. Most of these hacks are not done on software. They're people engineered.
I was literally talking about this maybe 3 hours ago.
At work?
It is way easier to socially engineer and find a vulnerability that way. Like, it's way more lucrative. It's less time consuming. It's way more. It just makes way more sense to get someone to accidentally give you their info or enough personal information for you to discern what their credentials are. And it's just way easier to socially engineer that information out of someone.
Somebody used their kid's birthday as a password.
Or their anniversary.
Or
And on Facebook, they're like, "Happy anniversary, babe." And their anniversary is their pin for their... Yeah.
You go to any dealership right now, you're screwed for trying to get your paperwork done.
Do they just say, "Hey, we'll take down your info, tell us what car you want, and we'll just..."
I don't know. This has been going on for a couple of days. Like, I don't know what they would do. But I imagine, depending on the dealership, they might not even tell you that there's an issue.
They're just gonna act like everything's... I mean, what's going to happen when you try to leave the lot with the car and you haven't, like...
Sign anything? They might have you sign, like, a handshake deal. Basically saying, like, if you do not come back within X days, we'll come repo the car or whatever. Maybe that's what they do. I don't know what you do. I have no idea. CDK software controls the following operations: networking and dealership management system, customer data management, lease loan paperwork, repair scheduling and billing, online listings. If you want to list your car online, can't do it. Can't update your listings. Can't say a car is sold. A car gets nicked coming off of the truck and trailer. There's literally nothing you can do about it. Manufacturer ordering and logistics management. They can't get any more cars. Their cars are just sitting on trains. They don't know where to go.
It's crazy.
Absurd how shut down everything is. Parts ordering and inventory management for car parts. They can't even look up what part numbers are. If a customer calls and says, "Hey, what's the part number for the lower control arm on an 06 Suburban?" They're like,
Unless I have it memorized, then I don't know.
Yeah, unless they have it memorized, it's... Who knows? They can't log into anything.
That's wild.
It's like one of the biggest cybersecurity things of the last, 20 years.
Wow.
So Diana Lee, who's the CEO of Constellation, she's a dealership marketing... She works for Dealership Marketing Corporation, so... they work with dealers to properly market in local areas. If you listen to a podcast and you hear about Valley Hyundai dealers or whatever, Constellation's the kind of company that sets that up. Okay. So Diana Lee, who is the CEO of one of the biggest, which is Constellation, said this: "It's just mass chaos at this point. The dealer is required to actually run a DMS, dealership management system, for sales, service, parts, for every single functionality, even stocking a vehicle. You can't do it without the DMS system. So it is a disaster."
That's scary.
It's crazy. It's just mass chaos at this point and I could not be happier.
But hey, remember, dealers are necessary.
Yeah, they're totally necessary.
We need dealers.
You couldn't have just had somebody drive it to you from the manufacturer's warehouse.
You could have just ordered it online.
Yeah. No, we definitely need them. They're not a liability and a pain in the ass.
Man, I bet Elon and Tesla are like, "Oh, you better believe we're bringing this up."
Yeah, any kind of litigation that's coming up soon. Yeah. Absolutely. I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't buy cars at dealerships anymore, so.
But could you imagine, the last 3 days, all of those sales across most of the country are just not happening, or they're having to happen in some roundabout, backwards way.
Probably sketchy, probably not legal.
Probably, who knows?
Because what do you tell your employees? You have to pay them to show up, and you have customers that come up trying to buy a car.
For some percentage of these employees, Friday was going to be payday. Were they actually paid? I don't know.
Let's say they pay the ransom tomorrow, and this gets resolved tomorrow. all the sketchy stuff that happened over the weekend to try to sell the cars and stuff.
That will be solved for months.
Yeah.
A weekend's worth of auto sales across the country done on paper by Gen Z kids who've never sent a fax.
When you're in a situation like that, and you're under pressure to make this sale right now, and let's say you're a finance guy at a dealership,
Yeah.
you're going to just do the first thing you could think of that finishes this sale in some shape or...
And you write it down and like hopefully you have like a notary around.
They're almost always notaries. The finance people are almost always notaries. But yeah, they have to just take their best guess on what to do. And if you have 15,000 dealerships with probably they have 2 to 3 apiece, let's say 30,000 finance managers just doing the first thing that comes to their head to try to solve this because they've got 7 other people that have been waiting for hours to buy these cars.
It's not like there's a standardization across all the dealerships to do things a certain way.
Yeah, because think about what you would do. Like, what would you even do? You're sitting there, you've got a customer in front of you, and you can't log in sometime on Thursday. And you're like, maybe I'll print it out. Oh, I can't print it out. It's all in the system. Maybe I pull up a file folder from a previous sale from 10 years ago. Or heck, I'll pull up a copy I managed to save on my desktop from yesterday. And then go in and manually get rid of the names on all of them and save a blank copy and then print that out and have them hand sign it. Like, that's what I would think of to do, right? And then hopefully that's legit,
Yeah.
right? And then all this time and energy you spent, now these people that were going to be waiting for 3 or 4 hours to buy a car, if you've been to a dealership, you know what I'm talking about. Now they're all going to be sitting around 3, 4, 5 hours, 6 hours sitting around. They're just going to go home. You're going to lose sales immediately.
Yeah.
CDK, as of Friday, said that no sales have been lost due to this.
Huh?
How would they possibly know?
Yeah, do they document whenever someone doesn't buy a car?
Yeah.
How do they know?
Yeah. So CDK is just like, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Yikes.
I imagine the next few days it'll be up and running. And it'll be down again next week because they paid the ransom and they're encouraging somebody else to do it again.
But it's really important that we keep dealers around.
Aren't they great?
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll be back again soon. And
Sorry Logan had to dip out early.
that's okay. It's a lot later for him than it is for us.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.